The morning was bustling with activity as Sam and Lyra packed their gear for the next leg of their journey, an expedition to Antarctica. As they checked their equipment list, Sam briefed Lyra on what to expect. Antarctica is unlike any place you've been before, Sam explained while folding a heavy parka. It's the coldest, windiest, and driest continent, but its beauty is unmatched and it plays a crucial role in Earth's climate system. Lyra, who was inspecting a pair of thermal boots, looked up with interest. I've studied your planet's climate patterns, but to see how it all connects on the ground, that's something I'm really looking forward to. As they headed to the airport, Sam shared more about their mission. We'll be working with a team of climate scientists at a research station. They study everything from ice cores to weather patterns to understand global warming better. Lyra nodded, her mind racing with questions. And the data they collect, how is it used to counteract the effects of climate change? It helps in modeling future climate scenarios and informs policy decisions globally, Sam replied as they loaded their luggage into the car. Your insights from your planet's technology could be invaluable to their work. The flight to Antarctica was long and took them over vast expanses of ocean and ice. As the plane began its descent, Lyra pressed her face against the window, her eyes wide with amazement at the sprawling, icy landscape below. It's breathtaking, she whispered, almost to herself. Sam, sitting next to her, smiled. Wait until you see the ice up close. There's nothing quite like it. Upon landing, they were met by Dr. Elena Mirov, the head of the research station. She greeted them warmly, despite the freezing wind. Welcome to Antarctica. We're excited to have you with us. Lyra, wrapping her scarf tighter around her neck, returned the greeting with a grin. Thank you, Dr. Mirov. It's an honor to be here. I'm eager to learn from your team. Dr. Mirov led them to a rugged vehicle waiting to take them to the station. I hope you're ready for some real field work. The conditions here can be challenging, but the work is rewarding. As they drove across the ice, Sam and Lyra saw the expanse of white stretch out endlessly before them. How do you manage to stay warm here? Lyra asked, shivering slightly despite her heavy gear. Dr. Mirov chuckled. Good insulation and lots of hot drinks. You'll get used to it after a while. Plus, the excitement of the work helps. We're on the frontier of science here. Arriving at the station, Sam and Lyra were shown to their quarters, a modest but warm space. After settling in, they joined the team in the main lab, where maps, screens, and equipment filled the room. Tomorrow, we'll start with a tour of our core ice drilling sites, Dr. Mirov explained. It's a good introduction to the work we do here. Lyra, looking around at all the scientific paraphernalia, felt a surge of anticipation. I can't wait to start, she said to Sam, her voice filled with excitement and curiosity. Neither can I, Sam replied, equally enthused. This is going to be an adventure we'll never forget. Their first evening at the station passed with more briefings and preparations. As they headed to bed, the sun hovered low on the horizon, painting the ice in hues of gold and pink, a surreal and beautiful welcome to the frozen continent. The next morning, Sam and Lyra awoke early, eager to embark on their first full day in Antarctica. After a quick breakfast of hot oatmeal and coffee, which Lyra found surprisingly comforting in the cold environment, they dressed in their heavy gear, ready to face the Antarctic chill. Dr. Mirov met them outside the station, her face bright against the stark white landscape. Today we'll start by walking around the base and then head towards the penguin colony nearby. It's a good way to acclimate to the conditions here. As they stepped outside, Lyra paused, taking in the vast expanse of ice stretching endlessly in every direction. The air was crisp, and every breath felt sharp in her lungs. It's like stepping onto another planet, she remarked, her voice a mix of awe and excitement. Sam laughed softly, adjusting his goggles. In many ways it is. It's one of Earth's last true wildernesses. Ready to explore? Lyra nodded enthusiastically, and they followed Dr. Mirov across the station's grounds. The snow crunched under their boots, and the sound seemed to carry for miles in the silent, open air. As they walked, Dr. Mirov pointed out various buildings and explained their purposes. Over there is our main lab where we analyze ice core samples, and that building houses our meteorological tools. Reaching the edge of the station, they spotted a group of Adelie penguins waddling awkwardly on the ice. Lyra was instantly captivated. They're adorable. How do they manage in such cold conditions? They have a layer of fat and dense feathers that keep them insulated, Dr. Mirov explained. and they huddle together for warmth during the coldest times. Sam and Lyra took several photos, the penguins seemingly posing for their new visitors. The little creatures were unbothered by the human presence, some curiously peering back at the trio. "They seem quite curious," Lyra observed, kneeling down to get a closer look at one that had approached. "Are they not afraid?" "They're used to researchers," Dr. Mirov answered. "We keep a respectful distance so they don't feel threatened." The tour continued with a visit to the nearby shoreline, where they viewed seals lounging on the ice floes. The landscape was a canvas of whites and blues, the sky merging seamlessly with the ice at the horizon. Lyra took deep breaths, trying to imprint the purity of the air and scenery in her memory. "It's incredibly peaceful," she said, standing close to Sam as they watched a seal dip into the water. "I understand now why the conservation of this place is so crucial." Sam nodded, squeezing her hand inside their thick gloves. "Every bit of research and data collected helps in global efforts to combat climate change and preserve these habitats." As the day ended, they returned to the station, hearts full from the encounters and minds buzzing with new knowledge. That night, as they discussed the day's experiences, Sam and Lyra agreed that Antarctica was already changing them, broadening their understanding of Earth's environmental challenges and beauties. The following morning was brisk and bright, an ideal setting for their scheduled visit to a larger penguin colony, renowned for its research opportunities. Dr. Mirov accompanied Sam and Lyra, providing commentary on the diverse wildlife they encountered along the way. As they approached the colony, the sound of chatter, penguin calls, grew louder, creating a bustling backdrop that contrasted sharply with the usual quiet of the icy landscape. "These are mostly chinstrap penguins," Dr. Mirov explained, pointing towards the group. "You can recognize them by the distinctive black band under their heads." Lyra watched, fascinated, as the penguins interacted with each other. Some were nesting, others were returning from the ocean with food. "What are their main challenges living here?" she asked, taking note of their activities. "Predators are few here, but climate change affects their food sources and nesting areas," Dr. Mirov replied. "Warmer temperatures can reduce the sea ice they rely on." They spent the morning observing the penguins and helping researchers collect data for ongoing studies. Lyra learned to measure the distance between nests and to note down numbers relating to penguin pairs and their chicks. "This data helps us track colony health and changes over time," one of the researchers explained. "It's invaluable for understanding how environmental changes impact these colonies." Sam, who had been taking photos, lowered his camera. "Seeing them up close like this, it's hard not to feel a connection," he mused. "They're living their lives in conditions that are harsh yet delicate in balance." "Yes," Lyra agreed, her voice soft. "It's a reminder of how interconnected everything is. Their survival depends not just on the local conditions, but on global climates." As the day progressed, they assisted in tagging a few penguins with non-invasive trackers. Lyra was gentle but precise, her alien dexterity an advantage in the delicate task. "I'm honored to contribute directly to your research," she told the team, genuinely pleased to participate. "We're glad to have you both," a researcher responded. "Fresh perspectives are always valuable." The return journey to the research station was quiet, each person lost in thought from the day's experiences. The stark beauty of the Antarctic evening, with the sun casting long shadows across the ice, gave the landscape a surreal quality. That night, after a hearty dinner shared with the research team, Sam and Lyra discussed the day's impact on them. Today was more than just educational. It felt deeply meaningful, Sam reflected. Lyra nodded, her eyes alight with the reflections of the day's learnings. "I feel a stronger resolve now," she said. "Seeing the direct effects of climate change here, it's impossible not to want to do more, to help more." Their conversation lingered on the possibilities of further contributions to the research and conservation efforts, both on Earth and in extrapolating ideas for environmental initiatives on other planets. As they retired for the night, the echoes of the penguins' calls seemed to reinforce their commitment to making a difference wherever they could. The next day promised another unique adventure as Sam and Lyra geared up to explore one of Antarctica's hidden gems, its spectacular ice caves. Dr. Mirov organized a small expedition team, including a glaciologist, Dr. Harlan, who was eager to share his knowledge about the glacier's formation and its significance in climate science. "Today you'll see one of the most visually stunning parts of the Antarctic, the ice caves," Dr. Harlan explained as they approached the glacier. The surface glistened under the sunlight, a sprawling expanse of white and blue. As they neared the entrance of the cave, The temperature dropped, and the light shifted, casting eerie shadows on the icy walls. "Watch your step," Dr. Harlan cautioned. "The ground can be slippery." Inside the cave, the air was markedly cooler. The walls shimmered with a surreal, ethereal beauty, hues of blue and white dancing with the cave's natural contours. Lyra was mesmerized by the intricate patterns and textures, her alien eyes appreciating the natural artistry in ways human eyes might overlook. "It's like entering a crystal palace," Lyra whispered, her voice echoing softly in the cavernous space. Dr. Harlan smiled at her description. "These formations are created by the movement of the glacier. It's slow but incredibly powerful. Over centuries, it sculpts these caves into what you see now." The group ventured deeper into the cave system, their headlamps illuminating the frozen sculptures that adorned the cave. At one point, they reached a chamber where icicles hung from the ceiling like glass chandeliers. "Each of these tells a story," Dr. Harlan said, gesturing towards the icicles. "They're formed by the melting and refreezing of water, which, despite the cold, happens even in Antarctica." Lyra listened intently, linking the scientific explanations to her own planet's geological processes. She discussed with Dr. Harlan the similarities and differences, finding joy in the exchange of knowledge. As they made their way back to the surface, Sam captured photos, intent on preserving the memory of the surreal beauty. "These images will remind us of our responsibility to protect places like this," he said, looking over the photos on his camera. Back outside, the brightness of the sun was a stark contrast to the dimly lit caves. They paused to let their eyes adjust, reflecting on the experience. "Being down there, seeing the power of nature. It's humbling," Lyra said, squinting against the sunlight. "It is," Sam agreed. "Places like this are precious. They're not just beautiful, they're crucial for our understanding of the planet." The journey back to the research station was quiet, each member of the team lost in thought. That evening, as they shared dinner with the station's crew, the conversation revolved around the day's discoveries and the broader implications for climate research. Lyra felt a deepened commitment to her mission. Today was another reminder of why our work matters. The beauty and the science. It's all connected. The day's expedition not only brought breathtaking sights, but also reinforced their resolve to advocate for and contribute to the preservation of Earth's fragile environments. As they retired to their quarters, the images of the ice caves lingered in their minds, a profound reminder of the planet's vulnerability and grandeur. After their awe-inspiring journey through the ice caves, Sam and Lyra's next destination was a renowned climate research station situated further inland. Dr. Mirov arranged for their visit, emphasizing the station's role in global climate monitoring and research. Upon arrival, they were greeted by Dr. Fiona Chen, the station's lead scientist, who was eager to showcase the facility's advanced technologies and research methodologies. "We're studying everything from atmospheric gases to deep ice core samples to better understand past and present climate patterns," Dr. Chen explained as she led them through the high-tech labs bustling with scientists. Lyra was particularly interested in the ice core analysis area. "These cores are like time capsules, aren't they?" she remarked, peering at a freshly extracted sample displayed under lights. "Exactly," Dr. Chen confirmed. "They contain information about the Earth's atmosphere going back hundreds of thousands of years. By analyzing these, we can trace changes in temperature, atmospheric composition, even volcanic activity." The tour continued to a remote sensing lab where satellite images and data were analyzed to monitor changes in ice coverage and movement. Lyra engaged with a technician who explained how changes detected from space could indicate significant climate events. "I've worked with similar technologies," Lyra shared, drawing parallels with her own planet's monitoring systems. "The scale of your operations is impressive. The integration of satellite data with ground observations must provide a comprehensive view of the environment." "It does," Dr. Chen agreed, pleased with her interest, "and it helps us predict changes with greater accuracy, which is crucial for preparing for future scenarios." Sam, who had been taking notes, asked about the practical applications of their research. Dr. Chen led them to a data visualization room, where a series of interactive maps and models displayed potential future climate conditions under various scenarios. "This is where theory meets practice," Dr. Chen explained. "These models help policymakers make informed decisions about climate action. They're vital tools for planning and implementing strategies to mitigate climate change." The visit was not only educational, but also deeply inspiring. Lyra and Sam discussed how they could use similar modeling techniques within their own foundation, to advocate for environmental policies and raise awareness about climate issues. As they wrapped up their visit, Dr. Chen invited them to a lecture she was giving the next day on the impact of melting ice on global sea levels. "Your insights would be valuable," she said, acknowledging Lyra's unique perspective. That evening, back at their temporary quarters, Sam and Lyra reflected on the day. "The more we learn, the more we see how crucial it is to act," Sam noted, his expression serious yet hopeful. Lyra agreed, her mind racing with ideas. "We have the tools and the knowledge. It's about leveraging them effectively to make a difference, and I think we can." Their commitment to their mission was reinforced by every scientist they met and every piece of data they reviewed. As they prepared for bed, they felt a renewed sense of urgency and purpose, ready to contribute their part to the global effort to combat climate change. Following an enlightening day at the Climate Research Station, Sam and Lyra were treated to a spectacular natural display that evening, the aurora australis. The southern lights were expected to be particularly vibrant, and Dr. Mirov suggested an ideal viewing spot away from the station lights. Bundled in their warmest gear, Sam and Lyra ventured out into the crisp Antarctic night, guided by the faint glow of their flashlights. The path led to a small, elevated plateau that offered an unobstructed view of the sky. As they settled on the snowy ground, the dark sky began to change. Wisps of green and pink light danced across the celestial canvas, gradually growing into sweeping curtains of luminous color. Lyra gasped in amazement, her face illuminated by the ethereal glow. "It's like the sky is alive," she whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's one of Earth's most beautiful natural phenomena," Sam responded, watching the lights weave through the night sky. "The lights are caused by particles from the sun interacting with Earth's magnetic field. It's similar to phenomena on my planet, but nothing this visually stunning," Lyra admitted, her voice full of awe. She recorded the patterns with her device, hoping to analyze them later. They watched in silence for several minutes, captivated by the shifting lights. The cold was forgotten, replaced by the warmth of shared experience and discovery. "This makes me think about how tiny our concerns must look when seen from the cosmos," Sam said thoughtfully. "And yet, how important it is to manage our planet wisely." Lyra nodded in agreement. Seeing this, it's clear that there's so much beauty and so much worth protecting. The aurora continued to display its majestic performance, with colors ranging from deep violet to brilliant blue. Dr. Mirov joined them after a while, explaining more about the scientific aspects of the aurora and how it related to both solar and earth sciences. "Events like these are not just beautiful, they're also powerful reminders of Earth's place in the solar system," Dr. Mirov noted. "They connect us to the larger forces at play in our galaxy." As the light show gradually waned, Sam and Lyra reluctantly prepared to head back to the station. The experience had deepened their appreciation for Earth's complexities and its beauties, both seen and unseen. "Tonight was unforgettable," Lyra said as they walked back. "Thank you for sharing this with me." Sam squeezed her hand gently, his voice reflective. "It's moments like these that remind me why our mission is so important. We need to preserve the ability for future generations to witness this magic." Back at the station, they shared hot chocolate and discussed plans to include a section on the aurora australis in their next Foundation newsletter, hoping to inspire others with the story of their Antarctic night under the dancing skies. The following day brought a new adventure for Sam and Lyra as they joined a wildlife observation team venturing further inland. The primary goal was to study the behavior of seals within their natural habitat, providing Lyra an opportunity to observe another key species in Antarctica's ecosystem. As their guide, Dr. Fisk led them across the icy landscape. He explained the importance of non-intrusive observation techniques. "It's crucial we respect these creatures' space to avoid stress or disruption in their natural activities," he cautioned, adjusting his binoculars. Reaching an observation point overlooking a frozen bay, they spotted a group of Weddell seals lounging on the ice. The seals seemed unperturbed by the human presence, some lazily basking in the sun, while others playfully interacted in the frigid waters. "This is incredible," Lyra whispered, her eyes fixed on a young seal sliding back and forth across the ice. "They seem so at ease in such a harsh environment." "They've adapted well to the cold," Dr. Fisk replied, handing her a pair of binoculars. "Their thick blubber not only insulates them but also provides energy reserves during scarce food periods." As they observed, Sam took notes and Lyra captured video footage, her interest piqued by the seal's effortless movements in and out of the water. Their agility is remarkable, she noted, zooming in on a seal diving into the water. Suddenly, a curious seal, younger and smaller than the others, ventured closer to their group. It seemed intrigued, possibly by the clicking of Lyra's device. Dr. Fisk motioned for quiet and stillness. "We're lucky," he murmured. "It's rare for them to approach so closely." They watched in silence as the seal examined them from a safe distance, its whiskers twitching, eyes bright and alert. After a few moments, it gave a soft grunt and shuffled back towards its group. "That was an extraordinary moment," Lyra said softly, her voice filled with reverence. "I felt a connection, even from a distance." Sam nodded, equally moved. "These encounters remind us why we need to protect their world. They trust their environment, and it's up to us to ensure it remains safe for them." They spent the remainder of the day documenting other wildlife and discussing conservation strategies with Dr. Fisk, who provided insights into ongoing international efforts to protect Antarctic fauna. As they headed back to the station, the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the ice, transforming the landscape into a scene of serene beauty. Lyra paused, looking back at the bay where they'd spent the day. "Today changed something in me," she confessed to Sam. "Seeing those seals, the young one approaching, there's an innocence and trust there that's profoundly touching." Sam placed an arm around her shoulders. "It's a reminder of our responsibility, isn't it? To act as guardians, not just observers." That evening, back at the station, they shared their experiences with other researchers, discussing collaborative projects that could help spread awareness and strengthen conservation measures. Each conversation, each shared story, reinforced their commitment to their environmental mission, spurred on by the day's unforgettable encounter. As their time in Antarctica drew to a close, Sam and Lyra spent their final morning at the station, reflecting on their experiences. Over breakfast with Dr. Mirov and other members of the research team, they discussed the profound impact the expedition had on them, both personally and professionally. "We've seen firsthand the challenges this environment faces and the incredible resilience of its native species," Sam said, his voice imbued with a newfound resolve. "It reinforces the urgency of our Foundation's work." Lyra nodded in agreement, her thoughts on the collaborative potential they had uncovered. "The insights and data we've gathered here are invaluable. Integrating this knowledge into our initiatives will enhance our ability to advocate effectively for global conservation efforts." Dr. Mirov expressed her appreciation for their active participation and offered continued support. "Your fresh perspectives have been enlightening. We hope this is just the beginning of our collaboration," she said, passing them a USB drive filled with research data and imagery. "Absolutely," Lyra responded enthusiastically. "The connections we've made here extend beyond just sharing information. They're about building a community committed to preserving these ecosystems." Before leaving, Sam and Lyra walked to the edge of the station, overlooking the vast ice fields. They took a moment to absorb the silent beauty of the landscape one last time. "Antarctica has a way of putting everything into perspective," Sam remarked. "The challenges are immense, but so is the potential for positive change." Lyra captured a few last photographs, her way of sealing the memories they had made. "These images will help tell the story of why places like this matter. They're more than just remote wilderness. They're critical parts of our global climate system." Packing up their gear, they said their goodbyes to the research team, promising to keep in touch and update them on the progress of their Foundation's projects. The flight back home gave them ample time to plan their next steps. "We'll need to organize a series of presentations and workshops based on what we've learned," Lyra suggested, pulling up her notes on her digital device. "Sharing these experiences can inspire others to join our cause." Sam nodded, pulling out the folder of contact information they had collected. "And let's not forget the potential for technological exchanges. Some of the monitoring tech we've seen could be adapted for projects on your planet as well." As they landed back home, the chill of Antarctica was replaced by a warmer climate, but the cold had left its mark on them. Motivated by their journey, they were ready to harness their deepened understanding and passion into actionable plans. Over the following weeks, they launched several initiatives, including a virtual reality experience of Antarctica to raise awareness and a series of collaborative research grants. Their commitment to conservation had become more than just a part of their mission. It was a driving force for their future actions. Reflecting on their journey, Lyra felt a surge of optimism. Antarctica showed us both the fragility of nature and the strength of committed individuals working together. It's a powerful reminder of what we can accomplish. Together, Sam and Lyra looked forward to a future where their efforts would continue to make a difference, fueled by the unforgettable days spent in the Earth's southernmost reaches, where they had not only explored a continent, but had also discovered new paths to safeguard the planet.